I was out at training camp today, and as I told you, I found Dante Fowler, the edge rusher, who had 11 and a half sacks with the Rams back in 2019. They used him well. He was a fit, and they got more out of him than anybody else has. This is a guy who once had 8 sacks in Jacksonville. Remember, speaking of Gore being drafted in the top 5, Dante Fowler similarly was drafted with the 3rd overall pick in 2015. So the pass rushing traits and the skills are there. He's 30 now, and he knows this might be his last shot to make some money as an edge and get a multi-year contract. He is motivated. This was Fowler earlier today at practice.
Dante, you're far enough into camp now to have a pretty good feel of how this staff wants to do things here. And you have familiarity, obviously, with Dan. But what do you make of camp so far?
Camp's been going good. We just, getting our team identity, setting down a foundation in a bar of, what we're going to be going into the season and just keep building and going further.
How much of a priority coming here was getting to work with DQ again after your experience with him in Dallas?
It was a cool deal to be able to come up here and work with him again, especially him being the head coach. I was only when I went to the Falcons, he was the head coach, but he was only the head coach for like 4 or 5 games. So just being able to see him as a head coach and, see him do his thing the whole year and just, see how this thing goes, I'm really excited, to be honest with you.
I've been so enamored with Joe Witt at the mic, just at the podium.
Yeah.
That's the kind of guy you'd want to play for.
Facts.
I mean, it's just, he's different, man.
Yeah.
Did you know it would look like this from him as a coordinator, or did he already kind of act the same way when he was position coach?
Yeah, he was always like this. That's just him. He's been that type of guy ever since I met him when he was the DB's coach at the Falcons and the pass coordinator at the Falcons. Always been that type of guy, always went about his business the right way. Love family and football. And, he's like something like a father figure, like an uncle that'll put his arms around you, but he'll get on your butt too when he needs to. So definitely have the utmost respect for Joe Witt. I love playing for him. I love playing for Joe Witt.
You had the monster season where you had 11-plus sacks with the Rams, and it kind of put the pelts on the wall now. From the outside, it would seem like your role is speed pass rusher, obvious passing downs. Is that about right, or do you see yourself playing a lot of snaps even on rundowns?
Yeah, I see myself playing a lot of snaps and working my way to playing rundowns. I think people just kind of got a misconcept of what I am. People like to stereotype me, but all that's getting nipped in the bud this year for sure. I'm a guy that can play rundowns. I'm a game wrecker, and I feel like a game wrecker need to be out there for every 3 downs. And that's what I do. I'm just a special pass rusher for sure. It's just a bonus when I come out there on 3rd down. We for sure going to try to get to the quarterback and get off the field. And that is my job, to go get the quarterback and put pressure, but also get TFLs, nice explosive plays in the backfield, and game-changing plays for my team.
I like that idea of a T-shirt for you, Dante, and we're talking to Dante Fowler. I'm a game wrecker.
Yes, sir.
Just rock that to the practice field every day.
Yep. That'd be cool, but that's definitely my mindset going into practice every day, just trying to get better, strengthen up my skills, tone those up so I can be ready going forward in September. But definitely I'm going out here to let people know that I'm not just a pass rusher. I'm a guy that goes out here and rep games, rep plays, and get my defense off the field when needed.
You guys are getting ready to head to New York. Joint practice with the Jets. These have become ubiquitous and basically now are viewed as maybe more helpful than even a game.
Mm-hmm.
But it does seem like there's brawls every single time these happen.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons why some coaches are pulling back the reins on doing them.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way to avoid that? Because there's no real ramifications if you get into it in practice. You don't want to let anybody punk you. How does that work?
I think just being smart, the other team have to be smart too. Some things, it just be certain things people don't understand. Just having clean plays, having clean reps, and get on and get off the field. You don't have to be out on the field for 2.5 hours and like that. Just do what you got to do. Practice, do your individual with your guys. Whatever amount of team reps that we have with them, make sure they're clean reps. And then after that, we can go on about our business.
Do you like the joint practices? I should say it this way. Are they as helpful as a preseason game?
Yeah, they're super helpful just because you go against your team so often, so you get comfortable with the offensive line or just whatever position that you're going against. And then when you get to going against another team, you get to, get another feel for other offensive linemen because you're not going to be going against your offensive linemen in a regular season. So be able to go against other teams during camp and be able to practice and get some stuff like that, it definitely gives you a better feel and gets you amped more ready for the season for sure.
Last one. For you, statistically, when you look back at a year, is it sack total, pressures, pass rush win rate? Like, what do you care about?
I care about just solidifying myself as being one of the top dogs in the league again. I was top dog in 2019, 2020, 2021. My 10 years with Atlanta, I was hurt. And then when I was in Dallas, I had to, sit back and learn from a lot of great players. So Marcus Lawrence, Michael Parsons, learn how to go up about myself as a pro and stuff like that. Sit back and just be in a room for 2 years with great defensive line coach and really good defensive ends and good defensive line. I think this year is going to be my best year yet.
Appreciate you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Dante Fowler after practice today. The opportunity is going to be there for him. Dorrance Armstrong is one of the starters at the edge. Who else? I think it's Cleveland Farrell who's going to play more on running downs. And then almost like a platoon in baseball, Fowler's going to come out on passing downs, although you heard him say he thinks he's a game breaker and can wreck games and he should be playing all 3 downs. He'll get a chance to prove that, I suppose. Dan Quinn knows him better than anybody else. Was with Dan Quinn for a very short time in Atlanta and then with Quinn and Witt in Dallas the last couple of years when he had 10 sacks. But he's the only guy on this roster with an 11.5 sack season on his resume. He does have a chance, if he gets off to a quick start, to put up some sack totals this year. That opportunity is going to be there for him. But I still think the majority of the pass rush is going to have to come from the interior. Allen can push the pocket. Payne had a double-digit sack season 2 years ago. And Johnny Newton made his name at Illinois and got drafted just outside of the first round because of what he can do, I'd say, as much as a pass rusher as anything he did against the run. But I really enjoyed that conversation. And I love what Fowler had to say about the joint practices, too. Going up to the Jets, trying to avoid some kind of team melee. Seems like it's just an inevitability, and it's why some coaches don't like those practices. But I think eventually we're going to get 2 preseason games because there's going to be 18 regular season games. That's how the 20 games will shake out. We'll go to an 18th regular season contest. You only have 2 preseason games, and then there's basically going to be joint practices before each of those 2 preseason games. And if that is the case, then the league's going to have to crack down on the fighting in these practices. The only way to do that is to make it possible to suspend guys and fine guys, because otherwise I just don't think there's any way to get players to stop fighting with guys on other teams in these sessions like you saw today.